Folks, the time has come to talk about a very important character to me. In fact, probably my favorite character in gaming, or just not just gaming, just fiction, just all of fiction. One very important character to me. Who is that character, you ask? It is none other than Melia Antiqua from the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Spoiler warning, I guess, for 1 and 3, because, yeah, just play the Xenoblade games before watching this, I guess. So yeah, hopefully this video doesn't go on for, like, ever, because there's a lot to cover in terms of what I have to say about Melia. But for those of you who don't know, as I've mentioned this before, she's, like, my favorite character not in just gaming, but in all of fiction. And I'm going to try my best to explain why I love her so much. So here goes nothing, I guess. Let's see. And I mentioned, I mentioned in a previous video that the first time I played Xenoblade was in 2016 on the Wii. And first time meeting her, this is going to be hard to believe, but I didn't like her at first. But she eventually grew on me. It sounds really hard. Like, for those who know me as, like, the biggest Melia fan, that could be, like, really surprising, I guess. But yeah, she really grew on me as the game goes by, and then the sympathy for the sympathy for her grew exponentially, especially in Mechonis Core, I think. Yeah, where, oh my god. We'll get to that in a bit, but let's see. But yeah, for, like, first experience with her, I didn't use her in combat my first playthrough because I didn't understand how, and, like, at the time I didn't understand how she played. But I've been playing this game for like 6 years straight and never, like, I don't get bored of it. Like, people ask me, like, how do you have over 1,000 hours of this game? There's nothing in it. I found a way, okay? But yeah, like, eventually I figured out how to use her over time. And she's, like, one of my favorite characters to play as well as story-wise, too. And yeah. Another thing, another reason why I love her so much is that she's gorgeous. Well, okay, in the original, with the, Wii graphics and shit, she doesn't look her best, but DE fixed that, thank God. And she looks absolutely beautiful. Especially in Future Connected with her new outfit. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure which outfit I prefer, her OG or Future Connected. Both of them look fantastic. But, yeah. In the original, I didn't really think about it by the time the game ended. Like, by the time I got to the end of the game, I thought she was still a great character, but over time, when I really thought about it, well, I'm like, she's fantastic. Like, the shit that she goes through and shit, I'm not gonna act like she's the most sympathetic character in all of history and shit. There's been way worse situations happen to other characters in games and shit. But I don't know, this one in particular, it just sticks with me for some reason. I don't know. I have played The Last of Us and The Last of Us 1 and seen, like, what Ellie went through. And there are some other examples that I can't think of right at the moment, but again, I'm not saying that Melia is, like, the most sympathetic character in history. It's just her story is what sticks with me. And, like, she has a whole by the time you meet her to Aerith Sea, she has a whole lot of lore to like expose about her. But the interesting thing is, like, by the time you get to Valak, it's like she's how do I say this? She's kind of put at the side for a bit because even though I'm like the biggest Xenoblade One fan, it does not. I will admit it doesn't have like the best writing at times. Charlotte, for example, but yeah, as I said, Melia is like put at the side for a bit by the time you get to Valak, and like I hate to admit it, but she like barely does anything in the entire Mechonis section until you get to like when after the Yaldabaoth fight, and she sees her people turning into Telethia. That's like the next time you see her having any story. But at the same time, I still enjoyed her throughout the entire game in my first playthrough, and yeah, it was really sad to see like all of her people just become Telethia, even her brother. It's like, and not to mention the whole love triangle, if you want to call it that, between her, Shulk, and Fiora. Oh my god. I I know a lot of people might know this, but after that cutscene with the High Antia becoming Telethia, and you're playing as Melia, you have to go look for Fiora. You can go up top the junks and like it has to be like a certain time so that Linata isn't there, and you can like talk to Shulk while he's unconscious and shit, and that shit hits hard. I'm not gonna experience that for yourself if you haven't seen it. Just you know what? No, I'm gonna say what happens. Like after some dialogue, like she's like, "The world needs you. We need you. I need you." And then she's like, "What can I do for you, Shulk?" The screen turns black, and then it fades back in. It's like, what was I about to do? that was crazy. I'm sorry if I ruined that, but no one has seen it yet. But it just needed to be talked about. That's just they didn't have to do that, but they did. I love it so much. But yeah, she has a really satisfying conclusion too. After you fight Lorithia, she talks to Kellyan one last time. It kind of reminds me of the in Xenosaga 3 when this might not make any sense, but after you fight Yuriev in Xenosaga 3, and you see like Rubido speaking to Albedo one last time, it kind of reminds me of that scene. Even though I played 1 first and saw Xenosaga, I'm like, is this a reference? But I still kept my focus during that cutscene. It was really emotional too. Like, and the fact that Ricky was there and he heard Kellyan too. That honestly made me cry a lot. And I just love that cutscene. Being the hope for the High Antia. That's really sweet. And then there's Future Connected. When DE came out, I'm like, oh wow, Melia looks gorgeous now. and when I saw that Future Connected was going to be a thing, I was like, we got more Melia. We got more Melia story. But this is when I like, believe it or not, yeah, Future Connected is what made me like fall madly in love with Melia's character and whatnot. A lot of people don't like Future Connected because they say it's either boring or doesn't add much, and it's just like a huge waste of time, blah blah blah. Gaelgar bad. I personally love it. It's not about the Fog King. It's not about it's not about I can't explain it well, but it's about Melia and like her like conclusion, if you will. Not conclusion, because you get what I mean. it's just a really nice addition to the game. And besides, why are you mad at it? It's free. You don't have to pay for the extra story. It's free, for fuck's sake. But yeah, and the fact that Jenna Coleman reprises her role, that just that's mad respect to that woman, honestly. Like, I didn't realize that she was like an actress from TV show Doctor Who until like I saw like a streamer talk about it when it was mentioned in like the chat, I guess. And I have really great friends on Discord that forced me to watch the show until we got to her season, and I'm really enjoying the show so far, especially like her seasons. Like, we're on series 8 right now with Peter Capaldi, and yeah, Jenna Coleman's like knocking it out of the park for me. It might be my Melia bias speaking, but she might be my favorite Doctor Who character. I don't know. It's all about preference. I've heard a lot of opinions about favorite Doctor Who characters, but Jenna Coleman, well, Clara Oswald is definitely my favorite. And yeah, again, using Melia in combat, like, she's really like complex in a way. I'm gonna try my best to explain this. So each art that Melia has, like her summoning arts, that is, grants her a buff. And if you use like the same art, element art, it it doubles it. I think not doubles it, but it adds to it. Like, one bolt increases ether, which is like the best thing you can do for prioritizing ether attacks and shit. And you can use summon copy, which is insanely broken, to just copy the last element that you've summoned. And bolt, when you like power up bolt all the way, like in terms of AP, it charges up like relatively quickly, and you can get like 3 bolts within seconds. But it doesn't always have to be like 3 bolts. You can have I always have bolt first, so that I always do more ether damage. And depending on my team, if I have like Shulk, Rhine, or Dunban, I would have like Flare next. And let's see. If I need to be more defensive, then I would summon Earth first, and then Ether. Sometimes 2 Earths if things get a bit hairy. Let's see. Her reflection art is pretty broken, but it does have a flaw. Like, it can't defend against talent arts from enemies, but it only lasts 5 seconds. But I like to sometimes cheese it by using a chain attack right before the enemy attacks me, so that it doesn't fade away by the time I get hit. So there's that. Most of her, not most, but some of her arts are like the worst arts in the game. I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen myself using Shadow Stitch or Healing Gift, which is like the worst healing art in the entire game. Like, my setup is like just full elemental summons. Sometimes I have Spear Break and Starlight Kick in case I need to topple enemies, but most of the time it's just her summoning arts, because that's all I need, honestly. Now, I want to talk about how her AI works. I've spoken to many people about this, and everywhere I look, everyone's like, oh man, Melia's got the worst AI in the game, man. Like, all she does is just stand there and just whack at the enemies instead of using it. Here's what you do, okay? There's this thing called, battle commands or whatever. If you hold the ZL button, is it the ZL button? Yes. If you hold the ZL button, this is on Switch, by the way, obviously, and press up on the D-pad, that will allow her to summon arts and use them immediately. However, if you hold ZL and press either right or left on the D-pad, she will store those elements and not use them. What this does is grant you buffs, and she doesn't waste them. If you want her to use it, you can just press up, and then she'll use one. And you can immediately switch by pressing right or left, and she'll either stay there or summon another one. That's how our AI works. If you want her to use all of it, just press up, and you just keep your eye on her and see how many she has. There have been several times where I haven't kept my eye on her, and let's see, she uses all of her elements. I use a chain attack, and I'm like, shit, she used it all, and I don't have any attacks for her. I'm no choice but to summon and waste a chain attack slot. But yeah, when you if you figure it out like I have, after years of playing it, she'll become like one of the best support characters to have. I might sound crazy saying this, but I encourage everyone to try it. Those who are still playing DE today, use Melia as like support, and hopefully my explanation was easy enough to follow. That's just how I learned playing the game. Just have the controls on at the side on at all times in order to fully understand. And then yeah, she'll just like kick ass out there. That's why I love to use her in combat, because I figured out how her AI works. I've never seen anyone talk about how. I've only seen people complain about how her AI is bad. Like, have you seen Charla's AI? Okay, let me tell you a story. There was this one time that Charla takes so long to heal me. I understand, like, her arts take really long actually to fill up. I usually have her skill tree on Perseverance to get because at the bottom of her Perseverance skill tree branch is a skill that like shortens the cooldown, shortens cool off by like 50%. That is priority number 1 when having Charla as support. However, she is still very unreliable when it comes to healing me, and I'd rather just play as her and heal my teammates. And I have made a video on this, but there is a specific spot in Magna Forest where, okay, it's right near a secret location. I think it's called the Sparkling Pool. There are 2 Ferrises that you can fight that's right next to it. If you have Charla as a support character and stand in a specific spot and activate the fight, literally, she will just get up and start spinning in circles. I am not joking. I have made a video on this. I have proof. That's what I'm saying. Have you not seen Charla's AI? It's not just Charla. Sometimes Shulk has really shit AI. Like, when I was fighting Zord this one time, let's see, it was like the final fight against Zord on the elevator. This one time, I needed him to use Enchant so that we can, attack. Guess what he uses? Instead of using Enchant, he uses Speed on himself, and he wasn't even aggroed. I am not kidding. And then he eventually died, and I had to sit there doing 1 damage to Zord until I eventually died and had to start over the fight. So yeah, I've played the game long enough to understand, no, Melia does not have the worst AI in the game, the worst support AI in the game, okay? I believe it's either Charla or Shulk, not Melia, because you can control Melia's AI, as I've explained before. But anyway, back to Melia, I guess. Back to Future Connected. Yeah, like, I'm gonna admit, like, I was only 30% satisfied by the end of Future Connected. in terms of story, but that 30% was like Melia as a character. That was satisfying. Everything else was, wait, what about Galegar? I didn't fight Galegar a second time for context. I'm like, what the hell was the Fog Beast? What does this have to do with anything? Then I thought maybe they're going to explain it in Xenoblade 3. Spoilers, they did not. Future Connected might be a tad more useless than people thought, but again, it's not about that. It's mostly just for a satisfying Melia story conclusion, if that, I guess. If you're not a huge Melia fan, chances are you're not going to like it. If you are, chances are you're going to really appreciate it, like I did. So that's just how it goes. It's not the best Xenoblade story. It's not the worst either. Okay, it might be compared to the. Oh wait, no. X still exists. Sorry. No offense to all Xenoblade X fans, but yeah. And in Xenoblade 3, oh my god. I've mentioned this before, but that Melia fight was heartbreaking. But when I realized it was just a robot, I was like, huge sigh of relief. I don't have to kill Melia, thank God. And when you see her in Chapter 7, oh my... I think I was like so distracted by how gorgeous she was and how happy I was to see her that I barely focused on the story from the remainder of the game. I don't know. I need to... yeah, I'm currently playing through again on a higher difficulty and watching the cutscenes, understanding a bit more second time around. But yeah, Melia just means a lot to me. Like I feel like she shouldn't. I feel like I overhype her a bit too much, but it's just my preference. Nothing more to it. I love her a lot. Her character, her design, her battle style, everything. I get way too overexcited whenever there's like new art for Melia, and it's yeah. I always get I always fanboy whenever I see like the perfect Melia art, but they're all perfect to be honest, except for this one time. But I don't know. Very rarely I see bad Melia art. That's how great it is, honestly. One last thing to talk about is that I've been a part of this Discord server that's like completely dedicated to like Melia appreciation, and it's a really nice small server. Not much goes on besides like posting art of Melia and not just Melia, just like anything Xenoblade related too, and just there's other stuff that's talked about as well. It's a really nice place, especially if you're like a huge Melia fan. I've been there since like January, I think, yeah, and I'm like eternally grateful to be a part of it. Like to know that there are people that appreciate Melia like as much as I do, if not more than me, is just really awesome. And I'm really grateful to be a part of the Melia server that I've been in for like 8 months now. It's crazy. That's where I see like the majority of the new Melia art that pops up, and I love every single every single one that does. Yeah, so I guess we're all done here. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.